Hi, welcome to WoW Flash. This is a weekly series where we look at the news stories related to World of Warcraft in the past week, or at least those that are of interest. So I guess the first thing I'll start off with is something I ended up with last week when I said it was a bit of a non-story. That is related to the silence penalty. It has sort of turned into a story because it doesn't seem to be working as originally stated. As many people will know, the popular YouTuber Asmongold, on his stream, there'd been a report that it wasn't quite working correctly. And so what he did is he got members of his stream to report him when he said, "I love World of Warcraft," or something like that. And he was penalised. He got the silence penalty automatically. Now, let me just go back to what Blizzard said about this before it was released. Following the Legion pre-expansion, any player who is reported multiple times under the spam or abusive chat categories will, after investigation, receive an account-wide silence penalty. Yeah. Unless I've missed it, I haven't actually seen a blue response on this. I hope they are working to fix this ASAP because it is now abusable. Granted, remember, this silence penalty doesn't affect any like guild chat or indeed any channels that are sort of moderated. So any groups you join from an invite rather than the game automatically making the groups, anything like that is still fine. But still, if you've got someone who is genuinely going about their business, trading in trade chat, for example, feasibly a competitor could orchestrate them being silenced from the trade chat maliciously. Now, of course, you would hope that in this particular case that after an investigation, especially if this is queried with a GM, you'd go back to find out who did report them and perhaps put a silence penalty on them just to make up for it. But I suspect that won't happen. But obviously, the current situation is really, really bad, and it would actually be better for Blizzard to remove this whole silence penalty thing until they can get it to work properly if there's a problem with it. It is a little bit worrying that it's still there, and that I think it's still there. I've not heard any different, and that I haven't really seen any blue responses on it either. Now, with the launch of a pre-expansion patch, of course, there's a lot of excitement. There's always a bit of apprehension as well, things changing. Just because you were on top of the current expansion, all these changes, all of a sudden you've got to relearn things. Now, there has been a little bit of negativity around this, more so than usual. And I would say this is because of a number of philosophy design things that came very late in the cycle. Things that were not stated as far along as BlizzCon. Things that seem to have just been put into the game with a few weeks left to go until it went live. That have caused a number of problems. Of course, the talent changes thing is something that's causing problems. We can now do this for those that aren't aware. Remember, you can get tomes that will allow you to change your talents between bosses in raids, things like that. Very easy to make as well. You just need a scribe. And remember, it doesn't actually have to be a scribe with a high level. It's Warlord's Adrenal rules for professions. If you've got a spare character who doesn't have a profession slot, just learn inscription and get the pattern and make your own tomes if they're too expensive on the auction house, which they probably are. I'm certainly putting them on for too much on the auction house, double the cost of them, really. But the max camera distance is more of an issue, or the camera changes in general are more of an issue. Apart from the very obvious certain situations, not all situations, but certain situations where vision is seriously impaired, especially from the point of view of tanks and melee, and most especially from the point of view of if either of those roles are taken by the raid leader. But in addition to that, some unexpected ones, people reporting nausea, like motion sickness types effects as a result of it. We've had unit frames or nameplates, shall say, from very, very far away NPCs suddenly appearing in the middle of the screen. Now, there is a fix for this one, but it involves a console script, and Blizzard have quite clearly said they don't want us using hidden functions. Well, my response to that would be, don't hide them then. Another little unexpected change, very one that was sort of announced quite late on, is no master loot for pugs, basically. If your master loot as a loot option is only available in a guild group, that means you need a certain number of people in your raid who are all in the same guild, so that it classifies as a guild group to be able to access the master looter option. There have been blue responses on this where they're trying to justify it by saying you're not forced into personal loot, although they are quite clearly wanting to push people towards that line of it. But they are noting down you can still use need before greed. Of course, I think we all know that need before greed as an option in a pug is poison, basically. At the same time, I mean, I personally would actually, I'm going to be honest, prefer personal loot as an option in pugs, just because although the need and greed loot option is asking for trouble in a pug, the master loot option is also abused at times. But certainly, yeah, taking the option away from people to have master loot, not popular. It's not popular. Now, of course, as the pre-patch was going up, it came out on Tuesday in America, Wednesday in Europe. There were a lot of guides brought out. Guides for various things, not least of which was the new classes and specs. And of course, there was a bit of a shitstorm for people following this channel who will know regarding Icy Veins. In particular for the Retribution Paladin guide, which was brought out by two people who appeared not to have played the Retribution Paladin in Legion. So, obviously I did a video on this, something I feel very strongly about. My channel simply wouldn't exist as a serious entity were it not for the Retribution guides I'm doing and the reasons behind those. And as a result of this video, apparently not only was every Retribution Paladin who knew anything about Legion, our Legion toolkit was, was clearly struck by what Icy Veins was saying. A few of them were actually posting this video, so this was actually read by at least one of the guys who works there. And to their credit, they have actually got on top of it quite quickly. They got an actual Retribution Paladin to make some quick fix changes onto it so that it's not going to lead you astray in the way that it did before. And this weekend, Sol Sacra, who is the most senior theory crafter, you know, the king of all rets, can we say, for PvE at least, is going to have a proper look at it this weekend and suggest some sensible changes, and then it should be in good shape. So we can give them credit for that at least. I'd still say that the system that caused this thing ever to occur in the first place should never have happened. It was easily foreseeable. It's like the equivalent, I would say, of someone getting stuck in town wanting to get home really quickly and taking a shortcut through a darkened alley, you know, and they get mugged. And it's like, well, whose fault was it? Any reasonable person will say, well, obviously it's the mugger's fault. They are the one at fault. At the same time, the person was a bit silly for going down a darkened alley at night. But again, it's one of these situations. Will mistakes be learnt and rectified so that this thing can't happen again? Otherwise, it's the equivalent of in the same situation going down the same dark alley and getting mugged again. I mean, it's like, yeah, okay, it's the mugger's fault, but you're a bit of an idiot, aren't you? I did a quick video on the achievement. It all makes sense now. Again, I said in that video, I think this is a way of them getting out of our garrisons. They are making firm steps to do this. There's a couple of things. Obviously, we had an achievement that is intended to stick us in Orgrimmar and Stormwind instead. But also, they have stopped all gold rewards in the garrisons. Even the jewel crafting daily won't reward gold anymore. It's garrison resources. So this is very much to wean us off the garrisons. They certainly don't want us going back to it as soon as Legion launches. And they're sort of also not giving us much reason to be there now even. Finally, some people were actually getting Legion materials from disenchanting Warlords of Draenor gear. Now, that has been fixed now apparently, although what's not known, what I don't know certainly, is whether the people that benefited from this ever got to keep their spoils. I don't know about that. But Bloods of Sargeras, as well as the actual Legion disenchanting materials were, yeah, people were getting hold of those. It has been incredibly hot, to the point where in the last 3 days I've not even been able to function. It's still quite hot now. It's a lot cooler than it was. But it's still anything. And I know some people from really actually genuinely very hot countries. But let me tell you, even 30 degrees is too hot for me. It's just too hot. 25 degrees, quite frankly, is too much. So when it's been like 34 degrees the last few days, and really humid as well, I've just been pouring with sweat. I mean, I remember going grocery shopping a couple of days ago, and I was in my air-conditioned car. I was all fine. I got out of the car, instantly pouring with sweat. But there have been some videos coming out, and of course there are some other ones expected for the weekend. I am having to reevaluate guide videos prior to Legion. There's no danger to any of the class guides. I'll be doing obviously Retribution Paladin and Havoc Demon Hunter. They're still fine. But apart from the class specific ones, I may have to scale back to what I originally intended. I simply haven't been able to do anywhere near enough testing on the beta. Nowhere near enough. And it's a combination of the fact that I was much busier than expected at work, coming towards the end of the summer term before the summer break, for various reasons, and also the fact that I have not been able to get stable play sessions on the beta. Ever since Alpha changed to beta, for me it's been really unstable whenever I've tried to go onto it, to the point where I drowned in air this week on my Demon Hunter. So that's been pretty bad. There will still be ones coming out. I'm just going to prioritize the most important ones, what people are going to want to know outside of class and spec specific stuff. Obviously order halls to a certain extent, artifacts, how that's working, the usual things you might expect, as well as a few professions ones where I can, but that's going to have to be scaled back, I'm afraid. I did get a little bit of a boost on the channel. I was thinking on Monday that I was probably on course by the end of July to hit 2k subscribers. Well, I've sort of catapulted over that now. That all happened quite quickly, quite unexpectedly. There will be a subscriber report coming out on that, bit of a special one, probably Sunday or Monday. It'll be either Sunday or Monday, that one will be coming out, I think. It'll be a bit of a push maybe to get it done for tomorrow, but you never know. But yeah, Sunday or Monday probably for that one. And I'm also wanting to update the website. I've started today. I produced a website some time ago to support the channel. It's just really as a place for people to go and it's just easier than playlists, I find. I put stuff into playlists, but I just find sometimes it's easier to find something on a website. There'll be links to the videos there and all the rest of it. So it's a support for that rather than another medium in itself. That being said, it got badly out of date. I'd intended to be updating it as I went through the alpha and the beta, but it was low priority compared to work, of course, as well as the actual videos, the channel itself. And it's fallen well out of date. So that's why I stopped some time ago, even posting it on the videos. But I'm going to be updating that and changing it from something that has to be updated regularly to something that'll be very low maintenance and in the next month. So that should be ready before Legion launches, and then that should be a good support for the video channel as well. Okay, so I think that's it. That's most of the things of interest. There's been a lot of things happen. Some of the things I've not really mentioned, not quite as much interest, but I don't want the video to go on forever, and it's gone on quite a long time now. So thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed what you've seen, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and of course watch my other videos. And until next time, I'll see you later.